This video is going to provide some basic breastfeeding education. And while it's great for those who have already decided to breastfeed, it's really meant to inform the patients who are still undecided about how they intend to feed their new baby. How do you plan to feed your baby? You'll hear this question a lot, and really, as long as your answer isn't, I don't intend to feed my baby, or something like, we're eating steak right away, then there's actually not a wrong answer. It's very important you know that you will be supported in your decision. Breastfeeding education is not meant to shame or coerce a parent into breastfeeding. It's really just the foundation of informed decision making and helps you set realistic expectations. And so there's actually a lot of possible answers to how do you plan to feed your baby. And so it tends to sound like a loaded question. Maybe you're still undecided about breastfeeding. Or maybe you've decided you want to breastfeed and you have a particular goal in mind. The World Health Organization recommends exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months of life, but maybe your goal looks a little different. Or have you maybe planned to just exclusively pump and bottle feed? Some mothers prefer not to latch the baby to the breast at all. Or maybe you're thinking, I don't know anything about breastfeeding. If not, you're not alone. Personally, I had never known anyone to breastfeed while I was growing up, and it wasn't until I was in nursing school that I learned anything important about breastfeeding. And it's possible you've already decided you don't want to breastfeed at all. Learning more about breastfeeding isn't meant to change your decision. It just helps you feel confident that you have made an informed decision. So, breastfeeding provides benefits for both mom and baby. And you receive these benefits regardless of whether you latch a baby to the breast or even if you exclusively pump. One is that the hormone oxytocin is released during breastfeeding, and it's considered a feel-good love hormone. It also plays an important part in helping the uterus contract and return to normal size after giving birth. Breastfeeding also provides certain other health benefits for moms, such as reducing the risk of developing diabetes or heart disease, reduces the risk of developing rheumatoid arthritis, and even breast and ovarian cancers. It's also been found to reduce your risk of developing postpartum depression. Breastfeeding can also be very convenient. It's warm, sterile, and ready to serve on demand. There's also benefits received by baby when they're exclusively breastfed. And one of those is the availability of complete nutrition. It also decreases the number of ear infections that babies get. It reduces their risk of getting childhood leukemia and also reduces the risk of stomach and bowel problems. And that's especially evident in preterm babies that receive exclusive breast milk. You also don't have to worry about formula shortages or any contaminants when you have breast milk. Patewood Hospital and Greenville Memorial Hospital are both designated baby-friendly sites. So this means that they have practices in place that we know increase the success rate of exclusive breastfeeding for those who choose to do so. But really, these practices are beneficial for all babies. And one of these practices is encouraging skin-to-skin contact from the time of birth and throughout early infancy. Moms are taught about feeding cues and to feed baby on demand and discourage setting a strict schedule for feeding baby. Also, babies stay in the room with their parents. The nursery is not routinely used for well babies. And this helps you recognize those feeding cues, bond with your baby, and adjust to the changes that come with having a new baby. Because the hospitals are baby-friendly, artificial nipples are discouraged during the first 2 to 4 weeks of life. And therefore, they do not provide pacifiers for babies. And even for bottle-fed babies, pacifiers can hide important feeding cues. However, sometimes a pacifier could be medically helpful, such as during a car seat challenge, receiving phototherapy for jaundice, or withdrawal from drugs or nicotine. It may be a good idea to have one in your bag for the hospital, just tucked away down deep, just in case you need it. I also want to talk about myths and facts about breastfeeding. An important aspect of informed decision making is knowing what's true and what isn't. Myth: breastfeeding didn't work for my mom or my aunt or my grandmother, so it won't work for me. The truth? We have a lot more support for breastfeeding mothers now than ever before. In the hospital, your nurses will help you get started from the time baby delivers and is placed upon your chest for the magic hour. You'll see certified lactation consultants that are all nurses while you're in the hospital. After discharge, you can receive personal guidance and support from the Breastfeeding Center at Parkside, also known as the BFC, to help you on your journey as you encounter any challenges. Myth: my breasts or my nipples are too large or too small to breastfeed. Truth: the size and shapes of your breasts, nipples, and areola do not affect the ability to breastfeed and doesn't determine the amount of milk a woman can produce. If you have had breast implants or breast reduction, it's possible you may require a little more patience and a little more assistance from lactation consultants. If you have flat or inverted nipples, the nurses and lactation consultants will be able to help you navigate that challenge using special tricks and tools. And large nipples do not tend to affect breastfeeding. Have you seen the nipples attached to bottles used for babies? Compare that to your own anatomy and you'll see what I mean. Myth: I can't breastfeed because I'm working or because I attend school. The truth: while it can be a challenge, you can still work or attend school if you're breastfeeding. Pumping while you're away from your baby will help you maintain your milk supply. Aeroflow Breast Pumps is a website that works with your insurance to help you get a breast pump for home. And if you have WIC, they can also help you with information to get a pump at no cost to you. Also, it's important for you to know you cannot be legally discriminated against for needing to pump at school or at work. Your workplace or your school are legally required to provide the time and a private, clean space for you to pump. Myth: I have to eat a special diet if I breastfeed. And the truth: a healthy diet is important for both you and baby, but your body's going to make milk for the baby that is healthy and provides complete nutrition. In fact, it requires a lot of calories from you to make that milk. It's the equivalent to walking on a treadmill for an hour a day. So it's actually recommended that you increase your intake of healthy calories while breastfeeding or pumping. Also, food can affect the taste of your milk, and this can help baby to learn to like various foods as they get older. Breastfeeding may also help aid healthy postpartum weight loss. Myth: breastfeeding is painful. Truth: it can be uncomfortable at first. However, it shouldn't be a painful experience. When a baby latches and it's painful, such as feeling like you are being bitten or pinched, that's usually the sign of a bad latch. Sometimes, in my experience, moms will continue to let the baby stay latched when it feels this way because they think, well, at least the baby's eating. But really, a bad latch is bad for you and doesn't allow baby to move milk well. It's kind of like sucking through a straw you're biting. Plus, one bad latch for an entire feeding can leave your nipples tender for days. It's important to break suction, take the baby off the breast, and relatch them. Your nurses and lactation consultants are going to help your baby establish a good latch, and they're going to teach you how to determine if they're latched correctly. Myth: I can't get pregnant if I'm breastfeeding. And the truth? Well, this is a common misconception related to breastfeeding, and it's resulted in quite the surprise for many couples. So, while breastfeeding can prevent your menstrual cycle from appearing, it does not prevent pregnancy. You can definitely get pregnant while still breastfeeding. Be sure to talk to your provider about birth control options during that time. Support really does make such a difference in the success of breastfeeding. And sure, it's natural, but that doesn't mean it's easy. Walking is natural, but it takes time to learn, right? It's new for both you and your baby. Challenges in the beginning are to be expected, but you'll have help along the way. In the hospital, your labor and delivery nurse will place the baby skin to skin immediately after delivery and help you initiate breastfeeding during the magic hour. Babies are usually incredibly alert during this time and will naturally navigate their way to the breast. Once you move to your postpartum room, your nurse will be helping you position baby, help you recognize a good latch, and offer encouragement and education about normal feeding behaviors. A lactation consultant will be rounding at least once to meet with you and to offer more support and their unique expertise during your hospital stay. After you discharge from the hospital, consider the unique support offered by the BFC. So, the Breastfeeding Center at Parkside is a part of our Tribe 513 family. So, you know you receive the same level of support and care that you've experienced with us here at Parkside OB-GYN. I'll provide a QR code at the end of this video for you to scan so you can check them out. So, some of the things they offer are prenatal consultations for patients, and this is to help you learn what to expect and to learn more about their services. That visit is billed to your insurance. And sometimes the BFC is able to see moms and babies within a day or so of discharge from the hospital. During those visits, a pediatrician will examine your baby, but they're also checking on you, mom. This is incredibly beneficial as an additional touch point in the very crucial initial postpartum period. They also offer a series of classes that cover a lot of valuable information for that newborn stage. These are free for moms to attend with their babies when they're less than 3 months old. Keep in mind that every breastfeeding journey is unique, so take the experiences of others with a grain of salt. It's also not an all or nothing process. The BFC will help support you in whatever that journey looks like for you and help make it as successful as possible for you and your baby. Latching, pumping, supplementing with formula, or even using donor milk, there are a lot of visions of successful breastfeeding out there. And remember, any amount of breast milk or colostrum is very beneficial to your baby. It's called a feeding choice because it's definitely your choice, and you're going to be supported. If you choose the formula feed, the hospital will provide formula for baby during the duration of your hospital stay, but they won't be able to send extra home with you. It's really important that you're prepared and have some at home. If you'll be using WIC, be sure to have at least a can or two at home to be sure that you can feed your baby between the time you discharge from the hospital and the time of your WIC appointment. Always follow package directions for mixing formula. Exact measurements are crucial to baby's health. When mixed properly, formula provides the nutrients and water baby needs, so they should not be given any additional water, juice, or other fluids. Thank you so much for taking time to learn more about breastfeeding to help you with your informed decision making about feeding options. You can check out the BFC's website here by scanning this QR code. Please remember that this information is intended for patients of Parkside OB-GYN only, and it's also very general. Always follow the advice of your medical provider regarding specific care for you or your baby.